Hello and welcome to the Punchline. I'm your comic strip critic, and it's so nice out today. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, it must be springtime. And you know what? For a nice little change of pace, why don't we go outside and enjoy the beauty of Mother Nature during this episode? What do you think, Toto? What do you say we get off this dusty old set? You know what? You're right. We do deserve another one. Let's go. Huh. I don't think this is what we were looking for. I knew we should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. Well, if we can't find the great outdoors here in the great outdoors, then I guess we're just going to have to look for it on the comics pages. Tilda, what are our options? Ooh, Pogo. Definitely a classic comic. And actually, this was one of the major influences on Bill Watterson when he created Calvin and Hobbes. But we just did a classic comic last episode. Let's find one that's a little more modern day. Ah, Over the Hedge. Definitely a classic modern comic. And in fact, I bet a lot of viewers out there didn't know that the movie was based on the comic. But let's take it a step further. Let's see if we can find a comic that even I don't know much about. Green Pieces by Drew Aquilina. Naturally the world's greenest and most environmentally friendly humor. You know what? Given where we are right now, I think that this is the comic for us. Yeah, let's get out of here before I grow a fourth arm. Trust me, you don't want to know. I have to admit, Green Pieces was a comic that flew completely under my radar for a long time. In fact, my introduction to the comic was at the 2014 Reuben Awards when a copy of the book was included as part of the attendees' gift bag. I assumed it was a newly created comic by some hotshot rookie looking to make a good impression at the Reubens. And oh dear, how wrong I was about that initial assumption, because it turns out that Green Pieces is actually older than I am. Dirt calls me Dad. Green Pieces is a bit like a Pokemon in that it started off as a different comic before evolving into a different form that we all currently recognize it as. Green Pieces originally started life in 1987 as Eggman on Campus, a collegiate strip running in a Massachusetts newspaper. Before long, though, congratulations! Your Eggman on Campus evolved into Green Pieces. Since then, Drew Aquilina's project has been picked up by more and more newspapers around the country, until it finally caught the attention of the staff at Go Comics, where it's been running online since 2011. And this little USB drive, which I happened to get at last year's Reuben Awards, has several Green Pieces collections on it. So let's scan our way through the files and see if this is an all-natural, high-quality product, or if it could use a little artificial help from your favorite online critic. No? Really? This is Green Pieces. Come on, seriously? He's retired! Native Americans believed that the world rested on the back of a turtle. Even today, that fine line between myth and reality is not always very clear. Huh? What the? I've been chia-petted! This is Iggy, the comic's protagonist and, oddly enough, claustrophobic turtle. Imagine being afraid of living in your own home. Green Pieces' artwork feels kind of vintage. The line work and simple coloring feels a little bit like a throwback to comics from the 60s and 70s and 80s, like BC, Beetle Bailey, Shoo, Haga the Horrible, or Mother Goose and Grimm. Although I do find it odd that the water is only solid blue with solid black swirls. It looks unnatural, like the water is tinged with oil slick, which is particularly strange considering that the sky is a blue to white gradient and that this is pitched as an environmentally conscious comic. And the giant singular eye on Ig reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is either a plus or a minus, depending on which Sonic I'm thinking of. And now I'm sad. Oh. It just grew here all by itself. Really? Cool! Is it going to damage your shell? I'm not sure. Are you gonna keep it? I think so. It kinda grows on you after a while. I'll say. Problems arise on Ig's new chia shell when his garden grows some sunflowers. Sunflowers that he never planted. Yep, you got dandelions. I'm slipping! Hold on, Ig, it's these darn taproots! And with that one massive snap, Ig's chia garden is kaput, and he's naturally more than a little upset at his on-again, off-again friend, who promises to get him a new and improved shell. Let's see, if I could have a shell, what would it look like? I don't think my brain works quite the same way as everyone else's does. Radek, however, not on a first-name basis with the Pope like I am, can only scrounge up a hamburger box for Ig. It's nice at first, being
he's evil, he wants to take over the world, and he fits easily into most overhead storage bins.
Lightweight, sturdy, and waterproof is what I was going to say. The problems start when it turns out that not only is the darn thing a massive heat insulator that cooks our resident turtle, but he can't roll over when he falls on his back. And then he's quote-unquote rescued by Girl Scouts and sent to the dump. And while he was there, he met Woody and Buzz, and they all nearly melted in the incinerator together. What, seriously? That movie came out like 6 years ago. Really? Okay. First thing we're doing when we're done with this review is watching that film. Back at the landfill, Ig has nearly made a snack for a passing rat? Ferret? Weasel? I'm not actually sure what that is, and I'm out of evil Redwall animals to name. But thankfully, Ig's friend Rock the Raccoon comes along and saves the poor little amphibian. It's not seen, but Rock presumably frees Ig from his styrofoam shell and helps him back to the swamp. It is a little bit of an issue that the solution to Ig's problem happened off-panel. I feel like we should have at least had a single panel of Rock opening up the burger box with something to let Ig free. But as it is, we just go straight from one scene to the next without seeing the issue get solved. Imagine if TV shows did that. Good golly gumshoe, I have just gleaned out who the great green gill grafter actually is. Well, confound it, Carl. Would you care to confide who the culprit of this confusing caper calls himself? We finally caught that wretched criminal, and we put him away behind bars. It's just a shame that my partner couldn't live to see this day. So Ig gets his original shell back, now free of styrofoam burger boxes or chia gardens, and the status quo has been re-established, and they all lived normally ever after. So, there we go. That's Green Pieces, and what do I think of it? It's okay. The characters are all obviously distinctive and identifiable, and the art style is nice in a retro sort of way. The writing and jokes are pretty simplistic and straightforward too. This feels like a comic that will belong in the papers back in the days of Hager the Horrible, BC, and Beetle Bailey. The sketchy artwork and straightforward writing reminds me a lot of the style of those vintage comics. But my personal preferences lean more towards modern comics. Things like Retail, Phoebe and Her Unicorn, The Pajama Diaries, and Ginger Meggs is done by Jason Chatfield. These comics have more smooth, clean art, which is more my choice. Like I said, it's just a personal preference, but Green Pieces doesn't quite do it for me. If you like these comics, then I really think it's something you'll enjoy. So go check the comic out and let me know what you think of Drew Aquilina's work. Until next time, I'm your comic strip critic, and I read the funny pages in search of comics for people of all different tastes. Hey there everyone, Comic Shop Critic here with a quick update about my Patreon account that I set up a while back. Two major changes. First off, Patreon supporters are no longer being billed monthly, they are being billed per major Punchline episode, which I think most of you will like. And the second major update, the price for most of the major rewards have dropped significantly. $1 a month gets you access to Punchline episodes a day early. $2 per episode, not per month, slip of the tongue there. $2 per episode will get you access to behind-the-scenes special commentaries. $5 a month will get your name in the credits, and if you want me to promote your show, I can do that as well. $10 per episode will get you access to requests that I review something of your choosing, whether that's a print comic in newspapers or an online webcomic. Either one is fair game. And $25 a month will get you into a private Skype chat with me once a month so we can talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. So take a look at the rewards, let me know if there's anything that you want to see requested or any other suggestions you have. I'm still looking for major goals right now, so let me know if you have any ideas or suggestions, and I hope to have your support in the future. Thank you for your time.